Hi, hair loss and my journey after FUE hair transplant. This is the beginning. A little about me first. My name is Sander, and I have been slowly losing my hair for a decade or so. I started to notice a slight loss of hair in my temple areas around my early 20s, and I'm currently 31. Back then, I visited a urologist and was advised to run some blood tests. Those came back and said that my body produces about twice the amount of normal testosterone that an average man actually produces. This excessive testosterone can, in fact, turn into a hormone called THD. THD on its own is not a bad thing. In fact, an adult body converts roughly about 10% of the testosterone into THD every day. THD is a normal hormone that men produce and need to function and develop. It can become an issue when the amount of THD becomes too high in your bodies. As research points out, increased THD activity is partially responsible for hair loss, in addition to other factors such as stress and genetics. High levels of THD can shrink your hair follicles and shorten the hair growth cycle, resulting in hair loss. Genetically speaking, my father and grandfather started thinning out in their early 40s, so I did get the short end of the stick in a sense. Over the years, I have gone through some hair loss and actually some hair gain. In 2014 or 15, I started to take finasteride 1 milligram daily, and in my opinion, I had positive results. Here I am in 2015 with visible hair loss on the frontal area, near the lobes and everything. 5 years prior, my hair looked like this. A year later, in 2016, I shot a small video on my webcam, and it was visible that the thickness had returned, and in some areas, I had regained hair. Mind you, that finasteride is not a wonder drug. Some men do not show any symptoms of regrowth or have minimal results. For some, it just stops the hair fallout process, though it can also help to slowly regrow back hair in areas that were once bald, or to a certain point. This drug affects people differently and there are side effects, but I have been lucky enough to be on the positive end without any known bad side effects from taking it. My hair actually became thicker, and in some bald areas, as I showed you, there was noticeable hair growth. Bear in mind that once you start taking it, it can take up to 2 years for any visible results. For me, the issue that followed was that finasteride is a daily pill one must take, and as it turned out, in my country, Estonia, we had run out. There were no resupplies for years. I managed to arrange once a 6 month supply from UK to Sweden, but that was not a feasible and a consistent way to continue. The Estonian Agency of Medicines was also not able to help me on this or grant any personal allowances for me to order it from a neighboring European country. Finasteride, or the generic Propecia, how you want to pronounce it, is in most Western countries a medication that you can get only via prescription. So I couldn't get it for years and I started to thin out again. Luckily for me, the acceleration of balding has been relatively modest, and thankfully I do have most of my hair remaining. I do not mind being bald. I have kept my head shaven for about 5 years now actually, and I think I look like a dashing Lex Luthor or, Mr. Worldwide. Being bald is sexy in its own way. I do not have any issues in rocking the bald look. But I liked hair. I liked having my hair and stylizing and playing around with it. I do believe most men are told just to shave their heads and and just get it over with, to man up. This to me does sound cruel, since I'm sure most balding men or women would rather have the option of voluntarily shaving their head rather than being forced by nature. I'm sure many of you have seen videos of men getting modern, beautiful, though not permanent, toupees, and you can see how much it means to them to have that tiny part of them back. They look instantly happier, they look younger, more confident, as if a weight had been lifted from their shoulders. I do believe hair theory is 100% accurate. After years of watching different people go through with FUE surgery, seeing the results and how the industry itself had improved, I decided it was time. Time to stop dreaming about it, and to actually take the leap. I started to take finasteride 1 milligram daily again at the start of the year with additional measures such as red light therapy and hair oils, and I was finally ready to hatch a plan. After months of research and back and forth with different clinics, I found a clinic in Turkey, Istanbul, and I decided to go in May. This is me once I started to take finasteride again with my freshly shaven head, and after a few weeks of hair growth, balding still quite visible. This is my hair thickness right now after taking finasteride for about 3.5 months. I hope it's visible, quite thick on the sides and in the back. I have to say, even though my hair hasn't been this long for years, it still feels thicker than it was prior. Turkey has seemingly hundreds of different clinics that deal with hair loss surgeries, and after months of talking with different clinics, looking at their socials, their price tags, customer feedbacks, everything, there were many a night when I spent overthinking and overanalyzing for the best bang for the buck and result ratios. But knowing myself, I knew I could do this forever, and I decided I had to pull the brakes and actually reach a conclusion. I decided to go with Este Medical Group in Istanbul, Turkey. Key things that won me over were their customer service and approach, one of the best displays online of the journey itself. In the same manner, a beautiful display of the before and afters with the customer feedbacks. And their price was nicely fit in my budget. Now it is time for the surgery itself. For me, it will be tomorrow. And I will follow up and record different processes and updates on how my hair will grow back in the next 18 months. Thank you for listening, and I do hope it gives some of you courage to also take this leap of faith. Thank you.